Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to take this moment to say thank you for listening to the Real ResQ podcast. It means a lot to me that you enjoy these stories as much as I do. Since the start of this podcast, we've had a lot of support from all over the world. It has been amazing. Now, we have companies joining our team that also want to say thank you for all that you are doing out there standing the watch. These companies are offering discounts on their products as a way to support the rescue community and those tuning into the Real ResQ podcast. Just go to therealresq.com, click on sponsors, and see these incredible offers for yourself. This episode of the Real ResQ podcast is brought to you by Breeze Eastern, the world's only dedicated helicopter hoist and winch provider. Axness, because when lives are at stake and conditions are challenging, clear communication is of the utmost importance. SR3 Rescue Concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. And Airwave, the Airwave Performance Mouthpiece, helping you to use breathing to your advantage. Breeze Eastern, they dedicate themselves to our helicopter rescue world. Since the very first helicopter rescue in November of 1945, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured superior rescue hoist solutions. While much of the technology and the unique mission requirements have changed over the past 75 years, their commitment to the rescuers, the operators, and those being rescued has not. Contact them today by visiting them at breeze-eastern.com. The Axness PNG wireless ICS system can bring cutting-edge wireless intercommunication system technology to any aircraft. The PNG system can be fully integrated into an existing ICS system or can be carried on and off as a mobile base station. They can go anywhere at any time on any aircraft. Plus, with the strongest and most robust waterproof handheld on the market, this system can take a hit and keep working. Their wireless intercom systems are designed to enhance situational awareness through improved communication capability. This system brings superior noise-canceling technology to eliminate rotor wash and engine noise from your ICS. The Axness PNG wireless system is currently deployed in more than 1,800 public safety, air ambulance, and search and rescue aircrafts worldwide. I have personally used the Axness system in 4 different countries and on 5 different airframes. It is awesome. If you want more information, contact them today at axness.com. That's AXNES.com. You just make sure you tell them Quinny sent me. SR3 Rescue Concepts is a training company that can help your helicopter training. They train daytime, nighttime, aerial firefighting, hoist, long line, fast rope, rappel, and more. They can assist your program with standardization and safety checks or just an FAA annual refresher. With the certified flight instructor pilots and experienced crew, they are ready to help your agency keep up to date with current techniques, rules, regulations, and equipment. Plus, right now, SR3 is offering 10% off anything in their web store with the promo code, all capital letters, Real ResQ, REALRESQ. Plus, they are offering another 10% from their partners Petzl and their equipment. All you got to do is send an email to info@sr3rescueconcepts.com, mention this podcast, and they'll take care of the rest. And Airwave. What if I told you that you could train harder for longer and recover faster just by wearing a mouthpiece? I know, I questioned it too. Then I gave it a try. The Airwave Performance Mouthpiece is a breakthrough in performance technology that is scientifically proven with over 15 years of peer-reviewed, published research at the Citadel to open your airway by 25% for improved breathing, resulting in a 20% decrease in respiratory rate, an increase in muscular endurance, and 50% reduction in cortisol levels post-workout. Now, what does this mean to me? Well, now I'm able to train harder, recover faster, and be even more prepared for when that SAR alarm goes off. You don't need to take my word for it. Try it yourself and see how you can use your breathing to your advantage. Go to airwave.com or visit them on Instagram at airwave to learn more about it. Then, when you're ready to give it a try, because you heard about it here at the Real ResQ, you get 10% off with the promotion code Real ResQ, RealResQ. Coming up next, I've got another one of my A school instructors joining me to tell some of his stories while he was in the Coast Guard. The greatest part about this is these are all stories that I never actually had the opportunity to hear and or listen to while I was in A school. You find this stuff out after. But now, today, with this episode, we get to get the backstory of all of them, and I'm totally pumped to have it. So please welcome our next guest, United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer number 171, Mr. Roger Chivers. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real ResQ Podcast. Today I've got with me another one of our rescue swimmer brothers, but this guy in particular is not just any guy. He was one of the few guys that was my A school instructor. He was the chief of the A school at the time, and this is United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer number 171, Mr. Roger Chivers. What's up, Roger?
Hey, just ready to start the day.
Yeah, buddy. It's been a little while since I've seen you, but at the same time, it wasn't that long ago because we were at DCERT together with a reunion, and man, it was great to see you there for sure.
Yeah, there's so many people, and it's like, holy cow, man! How do you talk to everybody? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people. A lot of people I didn't recognize. You know, it's been sometimes 22, 24, and years and longer.
Oh yeah, long time.
Yep.
It was. You know, I was so happy that those guys put that together for us. You know, shout out to Joey and those guys for. It was so fun. So fun.
That was the most fun, Jason, I've had since the last reunion in 2005.
Wow.
So
oh yeah.
It was that much fun. I just had a blast.
Yeah. Oh, the stories that were being told. Yeah. Down memory lane. So much fun.
Yeah.
Well, while I was there, I get to talk to you a little bit about this. And, you know, and I had asked you if you would come on, and you were like, yeah, I'll come on the podcast. So thanks for joining me and being willing to tell a couple of your stories from your time in the Coast Guard. Yeah, I'm excited about this because, like I said, you were my A school instructor, and like I remember everything in A school is a little bit different. And for those that haven't been through A school or something similar, it's when your instructor is there, you know, you have to hold your military bearing. You got to present well, you know, dress to the dress, you know, everything's got to be clean and ready to go. And, you know, like, it's just the way it was. And I remember at one point in time, I'm in the pool, I'm shivering my ass off. And you looked at me, you're like, Quinn, are you cold? And I was like, yes, Chief. And you said, you won't be for long.
Did somebody get you right after that?
I think we were doing underwaters right after that.
That'll warm you up.
Oh yeah, it was quick. Oh, it was great. So funny. Such great memories.
Yes, they are great memories.
So I'll tell you what. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, the good thing is, you know, we trained everybody well, and we didn't kill anyone, which is a big one.
Well, yeah, thank you for that too. I'm sure. You know, there's a lot of us that had questions throughout training.
They could kill us. The possibility is there, but let's hope and pray that they don't.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Oh, so funny. Well, I'll tell you what, Roger, if you don't mind, just before we get into your rescues, can you give a little background, a little bit about you, why you joined the Coast Guard and what brought you to being a rescue swimmer?
All right. Let me see. I grew up on a dairy farm up in Ohio. So I was kind of like slave labor, if you know what I mean. And uh, I
Okay.
had pla- I had plans to go to college, wrestling scholarship down to Ohio University, but my friends, my family all worked in coal mines, and the pay was good, so I went straight out of high school to work in a coal mine. And 2 years later, the mine shut down, and I was without a job. And one of the guys, miners I worked with, I was talking about joining the Air Force. He goes, "Man, you need to join the Coast Guard." And I go, "The Coast Guard?" He goes, "Yeah, like on Hawaii 5-0. I don't know if you remember that show or not,
I do.
but
I totally do.
that was my first experience with the Coast Guard on Hawaii 5-0. And Perry, he's a little bit of a hippie, about 10 years older than I. He was over there doing a NAM, and all he talked about is, yeah, if you got one of them 95 footers hauling selling some drugs, you're going to be high for the rest of your deployment. And I'm going, you got to be kidding. He wasn't. He was not. So
Oh my gosh.
uh, I end up I recruited out of Pittsburgh, end up going to Alameda, the real boot camp out in California. And straight out of there, I went to Station Siuslaw River up in Florence, Oregon, 44-foot motor lifeboats. And let me see here. Uh, it was a great tour, but it was steady port and starboard, and you were always working. I mean, just the duty was just absolutely horrible. And uh, we were doing boat ops with one of the 52s from North Bend, and I got to go up inside the 52, sit in the co-pilot seat, and try to fly the 52 around. And I was hooked. After that, man, I put my name straight on the ASM school list, and lo and behold, 18 months later, I'm on my way to Lakehurst, New Jersey, which was the home of ASM school back then.
Nice. Now,
And
you're talking ASM school as in before they had swimmers, or
yes,
okay.
prior to the message for swimmers didn't come out until 1984, 85, or 84 it came out. So I got down to Clearwater, and I wanted to be a flight mech, but they were hurting on drop masters on the 130 side. So I ended up being a 130 drop master, and I had a really good time once I did it, and got to fly all over the Caribbean, up to St. John's, Newfoundland, just all over the place. Really nice spots. So I'm glad I went the drop master way versus the flight mech way. And
Yeah.
let me see, my wife and my daughter, they followed me around from Oregon. The trip from Oregon to Ohio, when I was heading for parachute rigger school, which is ASM school, was about 2,500 miles. And we're in a little Mustang Carmagia with a, do you know which car I'm talking about here? It's an 1978.
Is that like the hatchback looking one?
Yes. Okay. It had a moon roof, and
Yeah.
we were packed to the gills, and my daughter was sitting on the console. That's how little space we had in the car. And when we hit the Cascade Mountains coming from the beach there, we hit one heck of a snowstorm, had to put our chains on. It took us an entire day to make it our way 70 miles from Idaho. So the entire trip ended up taking us 8 days from hitting one snowstorm after another. And it was like, wow, this really sucks.
Oh
I'm thinking
my gosh.
run into a snowdrift in a white car and not be found till spring. But anyhow, we got down to Clearwater, and with the duty down there compared to my small boat station, and making third was a gigantic jump. I mean, you were still cleaning heads, but not like cleaning heads like you're in a small boat station, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
or on a ship where you're pretty much slave labor job. And I made second class. Let me see. I got there in July the 2nd of 1980. And I graduated ASM school in, I think it was April or May of 80. But we just had a really good time down there in Clearwater. Had a good shop. It was a smaller, 130 H3 unit at the time, and
Okay.
people got along good together. And it was old guard. I mean, you're partying, drinking till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, getting up for flights, and you know what I'm saying. and, and
Well within the 12 hours bottled the throttle, of course.
that that buried deep in the 3710, and
That's
and
right.
black, and the chart was totally blacked out. I
What's
got to
going
tell
on
you,
here? We're not really sure, sir.
I got
Bad
really.
printer.
Can I tell you really a real fast one?
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
my good friend Bill Rankin, okay, and I were in Clearwater at the same time.
Okay.
He had went on deployment, and they were down in St. Croix, and they put him up at the really fancy 4-star hotel. They'd been down at the beach drinking all day, and I'm talking all day, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. And him and his buddy Carl Kastler came walking up to the pool because they wanted to clean themselves off in the sand and everything. Well, Bill was a really good swimmer. He dove into the pool, sunk to the bottom, and could not move his arms or legs. He was so drunk that he had no control over his extremities. So Carl thought he was messing around with him, and and started walking away. And Bill pushed off the bottom and said, "Help!" And so Carl finally pulls him out of the water, sets him on a chair, and sometime during the night, Bill took his swimsuit off and laid back down in one of the lounge chairs. And they're supposed to be at the 1:30 at 8 o'clock. Well, at 7:30, he wakes up and sees people all on their balconies looking at him, and he is butt naked.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, they called the local police there, and they escorted him to the 1:30, where he received a gigantic ass chewing, and that's how he got out of the deal. But it's one of the funniest stories I ever heard of somebody doing something really, really dumb and getting away with it.
Oh my God, that's great. Good for
Yeah,
him.
yeah, good guy.
Oh, I love those stories.
But yeah, Clearwater was good. Came time for I take that back. The tours were 3 years back then, and Barb's dad had a heart attack while we were there in Clearwater. And 1983 comes around, and one of my friends, Greg Nickerson, got orders to Kodiak. And Bill Rankin had just came down from Kodiak the year before, and he's saying, "Oh my God, you're gonna hate that place." And so we're all teasing Greg, right?
Yeah.
And I'm out doing a set of float bags on one of the H3s, and Greg comes out. He goes, "Hey, our shop chief wants to see you." And he's got a smile on his face. I go, "What for?" He goes, "You'll find out." So I walk in the office, and I go, "Hey, chief, what's going on?" He goes, "Well, you need to pack your bags." I go, "What?" I thought he was going on a deployment. He goes, "Yep, you're following Nickerson up the Kodiak." And I go, "I can't do that." I said, "My wife's dad just had a heart attack, and there's no way on earth I'm be able to take her up there." And he goes, "Well, it's like this. This is old guard here. You
Yeah.
didn't marry your wife, you married the Coast Guard." So Bill Rankin is just telling me what a horrible, horrible place it is. And so we drove it, took the Alcan, got up there, and absolutely loved the place.
Yeah.
Loved it. Great hiking, great fishing, great hunting. You name it. If you like doing anything outdoors, Kodiak's the place to do it. and it was probably my funnest tour in the Coast Guard by far. I really, really
Awesome.
had to go up there.
Excellent. I loved Kodiak. Absolutely loved it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm with you.
I had a great shop. You get to see some sights you'll never get to see again. Most people won't. And
Yeah.
it was just one heck of a tour. I'd do it again if I
Oh
could,
yeah. Oh, me too.
but
In a heartbeat.
but I'd have to be a drop master. There's no way I could do the swimmer thing. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh,
I, I'd still be a drop master and throw stuff out the end, but in the airplane.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's stand in the back of the C-130 and just kick that shit out. Go.
Yeah, piece of cake. A monkey can do it.
Oh, I love it. Love all my drop masters out there too, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
What's that?
I love all my drop masters out there. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. They're good guys. They're good guys.
Yep.
It's a much safer airplane than the helicopters, but you know, when we were up there in Kodiak, we only had the old Mustang suits back then. So if you didn't get the raft out, which is a major, or I take that back, there's probably about 98% you're not going to get the raft out if you crash in the water.
Yep.
And if you happen to invert and get out without your survival suit, you're toast, man. And it's like,
Yeah.
doing North Slope flights, we didn't wear our Mustangs. We just wore our flight suits because if you're hitting the water up there, you're 5 minutes and it's toast. So instead of suffering for a few minutes longer, we just put our Mustangs in the back and wore our flight suits.
All right. Nice. Hey, do what you got to do. That was old guard. That's what I'm talking
That was
about.
old, that was old guard. We got up there to Point Barrow. Did you ever make it up there when you were there, Jason?
No, I did not make it to Barrow. I made it out the chain. I didn't even make it all the way to Attu, or I made it to Attu, not Adak. What's
Adak?
or maybe yeah, I made it to Adak, not Attu. Attu is the very last island. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Same
I was
here.
one island short of going to the very furthest west point of Alaska. So
Same
oh well.
here.
Yeah.
Same here. But I did go. We did get to go up the Barrow, and we torched the motor. Sand took in too much sand,
Oh,
so they put.
geez.
Yeah, the scientists up there at Barrow put us up in these really nice Quonset huts, and they flew another engine up from Kodiak to us in Point Barrow. And that night, the scientists invited us to a softball game, and we started playing at 10 o'clock. They showed up with a Ford pickup truck loaded down with ice and beer in the back, and we were eating caribou steaks, drinking beer, and playing softball till 5 o'clock in the morning. It was like, it was such a kick in the butt. It really was. I'm thinking, I'll never get to do this again, and I
Yeah.
haven't. But it's something I can tell my grandkids about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great story. It's the stuff that happens up there that it's just not normal. Like you don't really get stuff like when you talk about being in Alaska and then there's the lower 48. This stuff up in Alaska, you're never gonna do anywhere else. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Same here. Same here. Loved it. Both. We were in Kodiak and Sitka, but I love Sitka. But still, I'd take Kodiak or Sitka any day of the week.
Nice. Nice.
We were constantly goofing off in Kodiak, though. It was a tight shop, and we're constantly having a shop party. We usually had a shop party once every 2 months, and it was just a really, really good crew. And Pete Lehman and I got up to Kodiak the same year in '83, and we both went on nights together 2 weeks after checking in, and we were on nights for the entire 3 years we were up there. And he was a really, really good friend of mine. And it's a shame he bit it out there in Humboldt
Yes.
on a flight. It's one of them flights, did they really need to go out on this thing? You know what I'm saying? I don't
Yep.
want to go into it too deep here, but them guys didn't have to die, put it that way.
Right.
And but I got to know Pete really well. He's a good friend, and we hunted, fished together, He shot an elk over on Raspberry, and
Okay.
we flipped quarters for the first shot. And lo and behold, Pete takes a shot from about 30 yards away, hits this elk right behind the shoulder. It took off, and you know them damn gorges up there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We waited the old 20 minutes, for it to bleed out and lay down, and go walk in there to where it was shot, blood all over the place. And here that elk had run down into about a 250-foot gorge,
Oh
and
my
was
gosh.
was laying in water with all the alder bushes growing up it. And it took us a whole day to skin that thing out because our hands were getting so cold from the stupid elk, being in the water. And so we quartered everything up, got it back over to Kodiak, split the meat, and I said, I'll never hunt another one again. I'll buy a hamburger at $7 before packing a damn elk out of a gorge, for free.
Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
great.
But
Man.
there's just a lot of stories that went down up there, but I can't say over the phone or in a recorded situation.
That's right, because don't say it here. Don't say it here. We'll keep that stuff off record.
Yes, yeah. Save it for the reunions.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, but no, keep going a little bit more. Like you went to Kodiak and then you moved on to being a swimmer after 1990 or 1985 is when they said, yeah, we're going to make the swimmer program.
Yeah.
At that point, that was one of those decisions where you could either go to swimmer school or move on, right? That's where you were at kind of at that timeline, right?
I was an E5, and then following year went down to Clearwater's in E6. So the only way of getting staying in the rate was going and passing swimmer school, making chief, or actually two more, changing rates or getting out. And when the message came out in '84, we were on night check, and our senior chief was there saying, "You guys need to read this." And we thought it was a joke. And I'll be honest with you, at boot camp, I had to go to remedial swimming for 3 weeks because I couldn't pass the swim test. So I'm down there at the pool every night, practicing a backstroke so I could swim to pass the test. So this message comes out. I'm saying, I can't make it through this school. There's no way in God's green earth. And we're saying, they're not going to make us do it. I'm calling a lawyer. We're calling our congressman. Well, guess what? I get down to Clearwater, and the clock's ticking. And they called all of us in, all of us being non-swimmers, into the lean chief's office. And we all signed page 7 saying if we weren't a swimmer by July 1st of 1990, we were going to get the boot. It's like, wow. So I had to get going on the swimming. I was always strong. I grew up on a farm. I wrestled in high school. So the strength wasn't the problem, but the swimming was. And luckily I had Thor Wentz, who helped me out immensely, and Marion Drobny. Did you know Drobny at all?
I did not know.
No. Drobny's a little bit of a different character, but he's one heck of an athlete and a good swimmer. So between them two guys, they got me ready for swimmer school. And back then they had a 2-week program for the guys who were out in the field. And you'd go to Elizabeth City and have to pass every single test that they proctored down at Pensacola. So if you did that after 2 weeks, you went down and joined one of the forming classes, with the Navy and the Marines.
Yep.
And I was doing good until the 3rd week, and I got sick. And I caught a cold. It went to my chest and got in my eyes. I woke up on Thursday morning. My eyes were all mad together. And we had the 2,000-meter swim that day. And it's like, oh my gosh. I took some antihistamines, went down, and I flunked that 2,000-meter test by 40 seconds. Had to sign,
Oh,
yes. Had to sign their version of a Mars saying if I don't complete the next time, I would be disenrolled and placed back in the next class. I'm saying, man, I can't do this crap again. And so I rested really well over the weekend as much as I could. Came in Monday morning all by myself while everybody else was PTing. And Ted Finney was the liaison petty officer for the Coast Guard. And Ted and I were in Clearwater together. So they get me in the pool. I get all warmed up, and they told me just keep pace with the instructor. They really helped me out here. I mean, they wanted me to succeed. So if I kept up pace with the instructor walking on the side of the pool, I knew I was good. If not, I need to kick it in. But I was still sick. And lo and behold, Ted jumped in towards the end. I lost count of the laps, and I was falling behind. And I got down the end. The second time I got to the shallow end, the instructor screamed at me. He says, "You need 30 seconds, 30 seconds." It's like, oh boy. So I actually kicked it in, and I made that swim test with 5 seconds to spare.
oh my gosh.
Yep. And I thought after that, I felt like a new man. I felt sick, but I felt like a new man after passing that test. It was the biggest obstacle for me, almost flunking that school. And but I was afraid of the water. I'll be honest with you. I had a phobia for the water, and I couldn't swim in boot camp. Never took a swim test till I went to swimmer school, and
Oh my gosh.
the SMs always proctored the test on the side of the pool, but they never took a swim test. And it was a good feeling passing that, for someone that couldn't swim for crap when I joined to actually make it through swimmer school.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it.
And I had in the back of my head, I'm going, you know what, man, if I don't have, this is why I thought I was going to Kodiak. I go, or Sitka rather, I go, if I don't have one single rescue in 4 years, I'll be a happy camper. Well,
yeah.
There were words I could never have spoken right there. but we'll get to that in a bit if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, I want to pause on your career here for a second, because now that you've made it through swimmer school, we're going to get into one of your rescues. Actually, we're going to talk about two of them, but before that, you were actually at a small boat station, and you had your very first rescue in the Coast Guard at the small boat station, right?
That is correct.
So let's go back to that real quick. I want to hear your very first rescue, and then we're going to get into you being a rescue swimmer and 2 of your rescues there.
Okay. Are you ready?
I am. I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat ready right now.
Okay. So when I graduated from Alameda from boot camp, it was all dependent on your class ranking on where you went. And I was from Ohio, and that's where my fiance was. And I came out number one in my class. And
nice.
But my best friend, Mike Booth, he's a big boy from Wyoming, and the fellow wrestler, he came out in third place. And there was not a single unit on the eastern side of the Mississippi River. Nothing open. None. So they're going through the different stations, and they mentioned Station Siuslaw River, which is in Florence, Oregon.
Okay.
Which is 50 miles up the coast from North Bend.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and that's the old 44 footers. predecessors to the 47 footers. They were self-righting motor lifeboats. And both Mike and I went to the same station together. We went to seaman school together. We went to coxswain school together up at Cape D. So
that's Cape Disappointment up in Columbia River Gorge area between.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing area. It's where advanced rescue or an AHARS is that they use.
AHARS. Yep. And we were both planning on becoming coxswains because we both became SNBMs. And so
SNBM is a seaman bosun's mate. It's somebody that's working on that. Sorry, I'm trying to help everybody out that doesn't know like the Coast Guard world. So it's a E3 going to E4 and striking that or getting ready to get promoted. So seaman bosun mate, SNBM.
Yep, you're a bosun mate as a E3. You just didn't have that first stripe yet.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Anyhow, we were really psyched up for this, but it only takes about 3 months to get qualified as a seaman on the boats. Yeah, I was a Boy Scout, so I knew how to navigate, and the navigation was dead reckoning back then. There's no such thing as GPS. You had a map or a chart, a slide rule, and a pencil. That's how you did your navigating. So we
love it.
I get qualified, and the SAR alarm goes off, and about 25 miles up the coast from Sitka River is Hasita Head Lighthouse. It's the most photographed lighthouse in the United States. It's absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
And yeah, it's absolutely, you have to write this down. Hasita Head, Hecate Head.
Okay. Got it.
And we took care of that lighthouse. And that was pretty much the point for Newport going up north and Umpqua River to the south. But SAR alarm goes off, and they said, person in the water, see the head lighthouse, put the Ready 44 on the line. And we launched on it, and top speed on them things is only 14 knots. So it took us about an hour and 20 minutes to get up there.
Oh, wow.
And yes. So we get up there, and there are literally, close to 100 people stand around because there's a island that you can walk out to at low tide and climb up to the top and get a really good view of the lighthouse and the Pacific. It's really cool. But here, a 6-year-old boy had tried crossing it with his brother and mistimed the waves and got caught. And the way the waves would go in around this little island, then come directly back out where they came from. And they were breaking about 6 to 8 foot. So Clay Rennick, our bosun mate, he's a BM2, and he's also a surfman. And a surfman is a coxswain on steroids. If anybody
yeah, exactly.
They really know what they're doing. So we're looking at things. We're actually yelling at the people on the beach. And Clay comes up with the idea that we're going to back in to this little opening where this kid was. And because we could see him, we just couldn't get to him with our nose in and with the waves breaking over the stern. So Clay backed that 44 in, and me and Alan Dotson grabbed hold of the kid, plucked him out, and put him in the well deck, and off we went. And I'll never forget his mother saying, please save my boy, and just screaming. Could hear over top the engines.
Wow.
This poor little kid, it was probably one of the most traumatic, it was the most traumatic rescue I've ever been on. When he was inside of this churn, they actually call it Devil's Churn.
Okay.
He was trying to grab hold of the rocks, and the rocks were just loaded with barnacles. And can you get where I'm going here?
Yeah.
He had been washed around in these barnacles for over an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And we tried to do CPR on him and with what we could do, but with his facial damage, we just couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. We tried best we could. And 52 from North Bend came up, lowered a litter. We put him in the litter, and off they went with him. but the poor little boy didn't make it. And
Ah,
that was my very first SAR case, and I had a 1-year-old daughter at the time. So after that, I was super paranoid. Anytime that that me, Barbara, Mike Lane, my daughter, were around the water, I was afraid to death she was going to drown. So I was very, very hyper vigilant. Is that the word? Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah. And that was my first and worst SAR case I'd ever been on.
Wow, that's that's kind of a
Or
tough way to start for sure.
it
Jeez.
really is. Then we got a
Yeah.
couple other boats that capsized on the bar, and got to pluck them guys out, and towed many a crab boat back in, and salmon boats. We stayed pretty busy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the
Oh
summer,
yeah.
it's a
Yep.
busy station. Wintertime, not much going on. But after that one ride in the 52, I was golden. I knew which way I was going to go. And aviation was it, no doubt.
Oh, that's great. All right. So with that case, now, and like I said, you've already given us the backstory as to getting into swimmer school, getting through swimmer school, battling the fact that you can't swim. I love that more than probably anything. It's that
I
mindset,
could.
the determination to get through. Oh, I love it. So, but
You
now
know, it's easy.
you go ahead. What's up?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say so this award that you earned up here, this was out of Sitka, right?
Yeah, my DFC.
Yes.
Yeah, that was out of Sitka.
All right. All right, so this is in 1990. When did you graduate swimmer school?
I graduated in '88,
Okay.
and the program at Clearwater had been shut down because of the corrosion problem on the H3s. And we wanted to get back up to Kodiak, but they had a problem with the housing units pipes busting in the wintertime and completely flooding the houses out.
Oh,
So
geez.
my orders to Kodiak got canceled, and we got orders to Sitka, which were fine with me and with my wife. We're looking forward to it. And got up there, got qualified, and had a good bunch of guys. Had a great shop. Scotty Harris was there, Brian
Nice.
Utek, Bob Weaver, Kelly
Awesome.
Larson, Moak, and let's see who else. Oh, Mike Mill. Mike Mill was there also.
Love it.
So we had a good shop. Uh, got qualified, and let me see. I already had the experience on the H3s, and I could navigate decently. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I usually set up in the jump seat on just to keep an eye out on the pilots. So the day of this SAR case was on Pearl Harbor Day, December the 7th,
Yes.
and we
Well, hold
swapped
on.
duty sections at
Don't go too
13.
far. Don't go too far into it yet, because I want to read this award, and then we can get into the backstory for sure. Um, but I
Okay.
want to also note here, because you said this a little bit ago, you were okay with going 4 years in Sitka and not not having to do a rescue. And here you are in this. So let me read this, and then we'll get into it. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Citation to accompany the award of the Distinguished Flying Cross to ASM 1 Roger Chivers, United States Coast Guard. Petty Officer Chivers is cited for extraordinary heroism while participating in aerial flight on the evening of 7 December 1990 while serving as rescue swimmer aboard Coast Guard H3 1435, engaged in a perilous rescue of 3 survivors from the motor vessel Norsal in Hesada Strait, British Columbia. Arriving on scene, Petty Officer Chivers deployed in complete darkness into 25-foot seas, 50-knot winds, and 35-degree water. He towed one survivor clear of the life raft for hoist, but twice the basket was ripped from his hands and the victim flushed from the basket as the helicopter was blown backwards by the violent winds. Each time, Petty Officer Chivers relocated the survivor, and after 25 minutes, both she and Petty Officer Chivers were safely hoisted. When the raft was relocated, Petty Officer Shivers deployed into the water again. He removed the remaining 2 survivors from the raft one by one, towing each clear of the raft to the hoist rescue basket. After both survivors were hoisted aboard, Petty Officer Shivers was hoisted into the aircraft, immediately began to assist in treating the hypothermic survivors. Petty Officer Shivers' actions, skill, and valor were instrumental in the rescue of 3 victims. His courage, judgment, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended, in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard. Holy cow, Roger. Wow. Okay, now let's get into this. 25-foot waves, 50-knot winds, 35-degree water. Get some.
Yeah, wishing somebody else was there. Like I said, we swapped duty sections at 1300, and you'd always go up to ops with the pilots, and both ongoing, offgoing, and oncoming, and get a brief, and then off I went down. I was given a hand. Fuel and a helo just came back, and Mike Mill was the swimmer on that flight, and he came walking over, and it was an absolutely beautiful day in Sitka. It was about 50 degrees, sunny, no wind. And Mill comes up to me and goes, "Do you know Mike Mill at all?"
I did not. I think I met him. I might have met him once or twice. That's about it. So, Mike, if I met you, I'm sorry. I forget. I apologize. But yeah, I know the name.
Mike, he's a great guy. And you talking about a decorated AST? He I think he has 3 DFCs.
Holy shit!
Air medals. But Mike had this laugh, and it's like, like this, okay? He comes up to me, he does this. He gets, man, he goes, "I think you're going to get your big one today." I'm going, "Big one?" I go, "Look at this." It's bright and sunny. I can't feel wind blowing. I go, "Worst possible thing that's going to happen today is I'm not going to get a good night's sleep tonight." Okay. All right. Well, then we're really dumb words. Okay. At about 13:45, quarter till 2, the SAR alarm goes off, and here comes the old vessel taking on water. Back then, they would pipe rescue swimmer provide, because we weren't always fine with the swimmer on board. So Mike and I drove on the carts back in the hangar, grabbed 3 extra dewatering pumps and the therma recovery capsules.
Okay.
And they're just like a sleeping bag to put hypothermic people in and warm them back up. And we take off, and I was sitting up in the jump seat, and we had comms with a Canadian CH-47 that was actually on the case out of Comox. And Comox is about 300 miles south of where this boat was taken. As we're going south, it gets dark pretty quick up there in Alaska in December. It's already dark at 3:30, and as it gets darker, the weather started picking up, and then the weather started picking up, and then we started getting bounced around, and then the snow started. Or I take that back. The rain started, then some sleet, and then snow. And I've got my goggles on. I'm going, man, I can't see jack shit out of these things. Well, that's because it was snowing real bad. Everything is whited out.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we're talking to the CH-47, the Canadian crew, and they said they've deployed 3 rafts, and we just checked one of them out, and there's no one inside of it. So cancel this one. And we end up getting on scene, and by this time we were getting rocked pretty darn good, bounced around, blown around, and we're looking for signals, anything to help us find this raft, because it was snowing. You really couldn't see. Visibility was horrible. So we hit bingo fuel, and we had to fly back into a little town up there. Oh my gosh, the name of it's not coming to me right now. But
Oh, that's all right.
anyhow, we flew into a tiny little village on the in Canada, and gassed the H3 up, another max fuel load, and went back out. So on our way back out, get on scene, which is about 70 miles away. The CH-47 calls us and said, "We're at Bingo Fuel. We're heading back home, and sorry, we cannot assist. The winds are too much for the airframe." And I'm thinking, you sons of beaners, okay? And that's being very kind, okay? At least stay there. At least stay there and stay over top of us in case something did happen, instead of going back home, okay, and drinking a beer while we're out here getting our asses kicked. Pardon my French. So anyhow, they took off. So the whole crew, we're bad mouthing them. We've got everything already rigged up. Trail line. We knew we were his weight bags. We got the Danforth anchor out, and that was going to be our weight bag. So we're doing a track line search. Lo and behold, a life raft, and we're over top of it. And I've been in some big seas before. Seriously, in 130s, but never down that low in a helicopter. And you've seen it where the wind's blowing and kind of blowing the top the waves over, and into a mist to where everything looks kind of whited out.
Yes.
So that's kind of what we had there. So we hovered over top of them. No one came to the door, and we knew there was a third raft. So we just stayed. We marked that position, stayed on our track line, and lo and behold, less than 3 minutes later, boom, we've got a life raft and we've got a flashlight. Okay. And so we circle it, and they didn't have a radio on board. They were thinking about dropping the radio, but with the winds blowing like they are, it probably would have been a hard time getting it down to them. So I helped our flight mech, Matt Price, good guy, and a good, excellent flight mech also, rigged up the trail line, and we're going to lower down the basket to him. So he puts the anchor out and starts lowering it down, and then the anchor starts sailing back behind the sponson. Okay. And the it lowers it down, the further it's going back on the back side of the sponson. So it's back there and it's doing like a figure 8 motion. All right. And even if we'd got this thing down to the raft, the possibility of someone getting hurt, seriously hurt with that steel anchor, was pretty high. So we backed off and went back into an orbit around the raft. That's when Mr. Thomas, who was our aircraft commander, asked if I wanted to, if I'd deploy. And I said, sure. And I already had my dry suit on. I mean, before we left Sitka, I put my dry suit on, just in case. And my mouth was so dry that I could barely talk. I'm here. Yeah. Okay. I'm saying this really sucks. Okay. I go, this really sucks. I didn't tell anybody that until Al Yates probably heard this, but it really did suck. I get in the door, and I always held my snorkel in my mouth, always. So I never wanted to lose that mask. So they're lowering me down. Matt is, and I am getting blown back almost underneath the tail rotor of the helicopter. And I'm saying, wow, man, this isn't very cool. And end up, he got me in the trough, and I slipped out of the sling, the strap. And when it came over my head, it knocked my mask off the back of my hood. But thanks to having that snorkel in my mouth, I didn't lose my mask. Thank God. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. You know how handy a mask can come in when you're in crappy water.
Oh, so, yeah.
I was one swell away from them, and it took me almost 7 minutes to swim from one crest to another. And I come up to the raft, and I'll tell you what, I was like a porpoise. Okay.
Yeah.
I was kicking hard. I up and I just flew in the door of that thing. And I ended up back on my back. And they're going, "Are you okay, sir?" I go, yeah. Are you guys okay? Thinking this was a really dumb move right here. But anyhow, I briefed them on what was going on, what we are going to do. And there were 2 men, pretty good sized guys, and they had their fiance there. So she was shivering bad. So I decided to take her first. I told her, I go, "Listen up, guys. I'm going to haul you out the back here of the raft. I go, I want you guys to go ahead and kick with your feet, okay, and use your arms and help me swim here." And I go,
Nice.
if you guys fight me, it's the old A school thing. I go, "I'm going to dunk you. I'm going to hold your head in water until you can't breathe anymore and pass out, and make it easy for me." And probably wasn't the nicest thing to tell them.
Yeah, whatever.
Inspiring. So I get her out and start to tow her, and we get hit with a nice 25-foot wave. Okay. Went completely over us, and we popped out. And when we popped out, she jumped out of the damn raft or the basket. And I'm saying, what the hell? I have hold of the basket. I'm being drugged through the water. I've got hold of it. We come out, and I'm still holding on to it. And she jumps out of the damn thing. And then I go swinging forward, and I jump up or release and fall into the trough. So I swim back to her.
Shit.
Luckily, we were in the same set of swells, and swim back to her. And I go, "What are you doing?" I go, "Don't jump out of the damn raft." She goes, "I think we're going to die." And I go, "We're not going to die." I go, "Just listen to what I'm saying. Once you're inside the basket, hold on and don't let go for anything." Okay. So here they came in, the helos for the second attempt on the lady here. And as they're coming in, next thing you know, they went to back up. And when they did, the wind caught that helo and brought the nose up probably about 30 degrees or so. And it went backwards and out of sight into the snow and rain. Wow. And it's like, oh my God. And I saw this, but she didn't. Okay. And I'm thinking, oh my God. I thought they were dead. I truly thought that helo was going in the water, because they didn't come back for a while. And I told lady, I go, "Listen, we're going to start trying to get back to the raft." And I said, "You're going to have to help me as much as you can here." I go, "When you feel a wave coming, take a deep breath and hold on to my arm. Don't let loose. Kick with your feet. Okay. Help me out." And lo and behold, here comes the helo for the third attempt. And this time they're actually coming in and they nail it. I stuffed her in the basket. I said, "Hold on." I held on to the basket, went through another swell and popped out, and up she went. And as she was going up, she grabbed hold of the hoist hook. Okay. Like she was going to jump out again. I still had hold of the basket with my left hand. So I karate chopped her hands off the hoist hook. Seriously, I hit her harder than hell, man. Right at the wrist, broke them, and up she went. So that was pretty much it for the first survivor. And I'm going, "Whoo, doggy." I go, "Man, I got 2 more of these to do." And I wasn't too sure. My confidence level wasn't at its highest point at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah. And, yeah. You just had your ass kicked.
So anyhow,
I get it.
I was sweating. I mean, I had sweat inside my damn dry suit and leaking water. So I'm waiting on the helo to come in, and Matt Price has the searchlight out, and he's pointing this thing off to the front of our nose. And what he's trying to do is point out the life raft, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. We'd blown down. Actually, I think it said 100 yards. We'd actually blown close to 300 yards downwind of the raft.
Wow.
And yeah, so they picked me up. And once I got up there, the girl was just shivering uncontrollably. So I broke out one of the thermal recovery capsules. I stripped her down and stuffed her in it. And I told our AVI, Pat Sarver, I go, just keep warming her up as best you can. And then I look and turn around and I hear Roger. And it was Lieutenant Thomas. He was actually our co-pilot. Roger, this is Mr. Thomas, and he was no longer in the cockpit. He was standing between the opening of the cockpit and the cabin door. Here, what had happened, I need to go into this here, is while I was working on her, Lieutenant Thomas came to the back of the aircraft, and Pat Sarver, the AVI, had went up and jumped into the co-pilot seat. They took the helo up to 500 feet. They locked the collective, and they told Pat just to keep this thing, look at your altitude, 500 feet, all right, and keep your airspeed at 80 knots, all right. And Pat was first class tweet and knew how the instruments worked. So while he was doing that, Lieutenant McIntyre, aircraft commander, jumps out of the right seat. Mr. Thomas, our co-pilot, jumps into the right seat. And then Pat Sarver and Mr. McIntyre swap back out. So we had two pilots up front. So what they did was they swapped pilots from one seat to another, with Pat Sarver flying that helo for about 45, 50 seconds, which is pretty darn good. And I didn't know this. I did not know that they'd swapped seats entirely. I didn't know what was going on. But they lowered me down for the other two men. And they this time, Matt plucked me. He had me no less than 7 yards from the raft. It was a piece of cake. Slipped out of the sling, swam over, jumped in the raft with them. And they're going, what the hell did you do with our girlfriend, with my girlfriend? One of the guys asked me. I go, well, she was fighting me, and the waves are breaking over our head. I go, listen, guys. I go, here's how it's going to work. I go, you guys cannot do what she did. I go, I don't know if I'll be able to get you both out if you pull the stunt that she was pulling. But once I get you into that basket, you hold on that thing for dear life and don't let go. If the wave comes over top of our heads, hold your breath. Keep hold of the basket until we come back up, take another breath, and you'll be just fine. And I said, who wants to go first? And the bigger guy out of the two volunteered. And I said, make sure you're kicking, okay, when I get you out here. And it only took me, the first hoist took me almost 40 minutes. And the second two only took me about 20. So I was in the water there for close to an hour, and by the time I got up, finally got up to the helo, I was drained. I was exhausted. Just plain simple, I was exhausted. And but I helped them guys out of their survival suits, got them some thermal recovery capsules, and we flew back into Sand Spit, British Columbia. That's where it was. That's where the airport was. They had an ambulance waiting for us, and they did take the girl in. She was suffering from severe hypothermia, and she was in the hospital for that night and released the next day. But I'll tell you something that was really cool. It's the motor vessel Norsal, and it was a World War II coastal frigate. It was a coastal frigate.
Yeah.
That had been converted into a luxury yacht. Okay.
Wow.
So we ended up going, there's only one hotel there. We get all showered up. Mr. McIntyre wanted us to write down all the events that happened. I'm saying, what the heck is this for? And I was worried about Mr. McIntyre getting in trouble. For getting out of his seat and letting the AT-1 fly the airplane. It's just, so
Oh my gosh.
I was hoping he wasn't getting in trouble or his career burnt. But we ended up going down the bar after we got all cleaned up and such. And both the guys were there. They told us their girlfriend's doing good. They're just warming her up nice and slow. And they put $1,000 on the bar for us. $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Yes, $1,000 in cash. Told the bartender, said, keep this flown. If he needs any more, he wrote down his card number. Keep him happy. Now, hold on. I got to look at myself. On the way back in, once I'm inside, okay, I could hear beep, 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 and I could see lights flashing in the cockpit. Here, what had happened on that venture when they were pushed backwards, they over torqued the rotor head, the main gearbox, the rotor head, tail gearbox, tail rotor head, and had actually all the 5 blades, 4 of them, it ripped the pockets open, which released the nitrogen.
Gosh.
Yes. So you can only feel it, kind of vibrating. We were still getting our butt kicked as far as the winds and everything going, but it was worse. And you could actually hear the rotors making a different sound. And then you look up front and see the red lights burning steady. Something ain't right here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. 4 out of the 5 blades had been torn open. So we got to stay there for a total of 4 days and change the blades out. And that second night, we were in the bar at their Christmas party, and we went and grabbed the NVGs from the helo, and we're playing darts and pool inside the bar with our helmet NVGs on. And the people there,
gosh.
the local residents, were just having a blast with us.
Wow.
So, long story short, they had a Learjet come up and pick them up, not the next day, but the day after that. And there was still money left over on the bar, so we were buying all the folks there at the bar their free drinks. And it was just it was a good ending. You know what I'm saying? We got back in. Everybody made it home safely, including the people on the raft. And yeah, it's pretty good. SAR case, I thought it was.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
that's an amazing
the
case.
Thing is, and there's nothing written anywhere about Pat Sarver flying that bird, but everybody gets to fly in the H3 if they want to. It has the open cockpit, but nobody's flying one of them things when it's dark and stormy, and you're flying it all by yourself.
My gosh.
And ever since that case right there, if I had the duty, you'd be walking up from the hangar and you hear the lanyard at the yard arm clanging on the pool. It'd be snowing. Anytime the star alarm or the PA system would go click, my pulse would go from 50 beats a minute up to about 80 instantly. And it's like, oh boy, okay. But that was my biggest SAR case, one and only big one. And you know what? There's all other people could have easily pulled this thing off, just like I did. It's just a matter of luck of the draw, or I don't know if you'd call it luck, but it's a timing thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you were on duty when the alarm went off.
But one thing I did say is, when I was getting my butt kicked with a woman, I said, there's no way. My dad passed away when I was 6 years old. He was killed in a coal mine. And I was telling myself, there's no way that I'm going to let Barb raise them 2 girls by herself. So it kind of kicked my adrenaline level up to where I wasn't so afraid. Okay.
Yeah.
I was concerned, but I was no longer afraid. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to make it home. If the helo crashed, I'd make it back to the life raft. If because I'm thinking this in my head. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
saying by the time back to the raft, whoever I'm towing, they're not going to be able to make it. I mean, they'll be dead from hypothermia. So I'm thinking, man, I can make it back to the raft, and someone will find me later on. They launched. We had no other planes up back at Sitka. They wanted to launch a second bird to help us out, but they were both down for maintenance. But Kodiak did launch a C-130. It's 700 miles from Kodiak to Sitka, plus another 280 coming down south. Okay,
Yeah.
Southeast actually. So that they didn't even make it halfway to us before we were done our way back in.
Wow.
But
Jeez,
at least they did show the attempt they were going to come help us out.
yeah. Hey, thanks, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Enjoy your box lunch and have a cup of coffee for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what? There is something to be said about having a C-130 over the top of you as you're flying, and it's something that I absolutely love the sound of. So, like,
Yes.
I can
They
pick
might,
on all my C-130 guy boys, but know in my heart, I love seeing you up there. So,
yeah, yeah. It's a comforting feeling, you know what I'm saying?
no, yeah, yep.
I carried around a backpack with my 5 items, a fanny pack, to where if
Okay.
we did go down, I'd have enough food. I could have lasted about a month on what I had packed up in that thing. But lucky it never came to have to use one. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
the old H3s, they might be slow and cumbersome compared to a 60. But I'll tell you what, they always brought me home. So I can't say one bad thing about them.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong
Nope,
with that.
not at all.
Jeez. Roger, thank you so much for sharing that rescue. That is incredible. Wow. Well done to you and your crew.
Oh,
Holy
thank you.
cow. Yeah.
You can
Heck
thank
yeah.
Lieutenant Thomas, uh, Matt Price, our mech, and Pat Sarver, our AVI. They all got air medals. Lieutenant Thomas got an air medal. Matt Price was put in for a DFC, but they downloaded that to an air medal. And Pat Sarver got an air medal also.
Nice.
But
Deserved.
Mr. McIntyre turned down his award. He felt really, really bad about it. What happened was he got a really bad case of vertigo on top of the conditions, and he was having a hard time maintaining a stable hover. But Mr. Thomas was backing him up the whole time. And even with Mr. Thomas backing him up, when they brought that nose up and it went backwards, that's where they over torqued everything. They kind of did a really, can I say this here? You got time,
Yeah.
Jason?
I got all the time in the world.
I found this out later on that night, is when they were being blown backwards. Okay, Mr. Thomas said I have the controls, and he kicked in left rudder, left cyclic, and pulled up on the collective and kind of did a 180. Okay, in midair at about 100 feet off the water.
Wow.
And it's really cool. If you can picture the helicopter going backwards and then him putting in left rudder, okay, left cyclic, everything you got, and turn that thing down around on a dime. He saved the aircraft. He saved the crew, and plus saved our bacon too.
Wow. Wow. Well done.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I'd fly in that type of weather with that man.
Jeez, oh man, that is amazing. Again, you and your entire crew, awesome job.
Yeah, I stay in touch with Lieutenant Thomas, but I don't know where Matt's at. I think that Mr. McIntyre is up in Sitka. He owns a B&B up there.
Oh, nice.
And, yeah.
You know what? You'll have to reach out to him. Maybe he'll come on and tell us. Tell us what was going on. I would love to hear it from him too. That's incredible.
Oh, Lieutenant Thomas?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll try to find his happy, but he's not on Facebook. But
okay.
I'll try to find him and put you in touch with him.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I would love to hear it from him too. That is
Yeah, yeah,
freaking amazing.
yeah.
Nice.
He kind of saved her bacon there because if he wanted to turn that plane around, that thing could have lost lift and went in tail first in the water.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, that's nothing to be messing around with it at all. And I thought they were dead. I'm serious. When it went out of sight, I couldn't see them any longer. I thought they were going in the water. It's like, oh boy, not good, not good.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yep.
I'll tell you what, Roger, I
Help.
cannot thank you enough for sharing that story. That is one heck of a case.
You're
Wow.
very well.
Good job.
I
So
didn't bore you. I didn't bore
no,
you too much.
hell no. Are you kidding me? I'm on the edge of my seat. This is ridiculous. I keep saying I can't get enough of this stuff. I really can't. It's crazy. So, but you actually have one more rescue that you wanted to kind of talk about, and it's more of a heartfelt rescue that you had uh, kind of towards a little later on in your career. But what is that one?
Okay. Uh, so we had that sort of case on December the 7th, correct?
Yes,
So
1990.
1990, September 7th, 1990 at 2:05, we launched. All right.
Yep.
Well, after that, man, I was getting medevacs like out the yin yang. Every time, every time I had duty, I was going on a case. It's like, holy crap, man, this stuff needs to stop. I'm serious. I'm saying this myself. Somebody else needs to hop in the old churn here and take a turn. But on December the 23rd, I had duty again. And once again, it was a crappy ass night. And we had, SAR alarm goes off. Vessel taking on water. Okay. Uh, extra pumps, rescue swimmer, and duty corpsman provide.
Oh
So
wow.
reload up 2 extra pumps, one thermal recovery cap, no, two thermal recovery capsules, and the corpsman. And we put on a max load of fuel. Okay. And my flight mech was oh my goodness. It's gonna come to me in a second here. But he's one of the best mechs of all times. Uh, we go and take off and we're heading down towards Ketchikan. And if you're going down that way, it's a really rocky coast, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
With a bunch of coves and little inlets. So we take off, max fuel load, and we're heading south. And we actually got into radio contact with the boat. He had lost his seal on his oh my gosh, on his prop,
Okay.
where it goes into the boat itself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And was taking on water and said he was trying to get the boat up into a cove. And he said he had flares. And he said as soon as he would hear us, he would start launching them. And I didn't hear this because they didn't have enough stations in the back for everybody to be on the radio at the same time. So we're cruising down and we're lost contact with him. He said, the boat's going in. I'm in the cove. He goes, I don't have a position for you, but I'll be listening out for you. So we had the night sun going and it was raining really hard. No snow, but it was blowing rain. And the winds were only blowing about 30 to 40 knots. Nothing bad at all.
Only.
But it's like training flights up there in Alaska. To get
Yeah,
out.
I know. It's just funny when you say it. It's only blowing
Yeah,
30 to 40 knots. It's fine.
if you're in Clearwater, you're getting a DFC for going on a training flight. But we're cruising down south, and we're all on the left side of the aircraft, looking for the flare. And lo and behold, boom! Nice bright red flare goes off. Okay, so we did let me see, almost a 360, and then came back in to where we were. Our nose was into the wind, and we're just creeping up the coast, and there was the inlet, and boom, off goes another flare, and you can see it up in the air, but you couldn't. The trees were covering it up close to the water. So we go nosing our way in there, and as we're going in, I was already dressed up. They told me I had my gear ready to go. As we're going in, the channel got slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. And pilot goes, I don't think we're going to be able to turn around if we pick this man up. And I said, well, we could always lower the ramp and I could taxi you backwards. And he goes, that's a brilliant idea. it's one of the few bright ideas I had in my lifetime. So
that's amazing. I won't tell your wife because then she'll expect more. Okay.
Oh, she's got a cup of coffee. She hears everything I'm saying right now.
Oh,
but,
great.
But we're going up in there, and there was not room to turn around. As a matter of fact, the mech and the corpsman, we took the windows out of the left side of the helo so that they could watch the rotor blade clearance with the trees on each side.
Yeah.
And so the man was up on a rock. We had the flare going, and you could see him glowing bright as anything, even with a survival suit on.
Wow.
Come up and do the hoist. We get him up inside, and I'd lowered the ramp and was vectoring backwards. So I said, anything right turn is going to be exactly that. You're going to turn the tail rotor to the right. Left turn the tail rotor to the left. And we end up backing out and started heading back for Sitka. We have the tailwind on the way down. On the way back up, we were hit headwinds. Like I said, they're blowing 30 to 40. And we had a mass. Oh, I forgot something very important.
Okay.
Before we went up in that cove after this guy, we were too heavy on our weight. So we had to go out and we dumped 1,500 pounds of fuel. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
First time I'd ever done this before. At nighttime is really cool because it's come out the dump mass like crazy, all lit up, kind of look pretty. But dumped 1,500 pounds, then went up in, hoisting, backed out. So now we're heading back to Sitka, and it's totally IFR conditions. It's about 11 o'clock at night, right in that area, and we shot 3 approaches and came up empty each time. And you've flown into Sitka before, haven't you?
I have not. No, it's one of the. No, I've only gone to Kodiak. No, I was never in Sitka.
All right. Well, there's only 2 ways to land, either north or to the south, and we were coming to the north, shooting the approach. I can't remember the number of the runway, but after 3 attempts, we had not made contact, no lights, nothing. So we circled back out and went out over the bay, and our co-pilot came up with the idea. He goes, let's get our nautical charts out. He goes, we'll look for the navigational signs and just use the radar to bring us back in. And sure as crap, we always carried nautical charts along with the aeronautical charts on the birds.
Yeah.
So whipped one out and turned the radar on, and we were hitting the reflective signs, and lo and behold, all fuel tanks were flashing. Okay. But we were only flying at 25 knots and 25 feet. That way, if an engine would torch out, we could make a water landing. Okay. Which
oh my gosh,
another great feature of the helicopter. So I got the guy suited up, the survivor. I had him in a survival suit. I said, if anything happens, and we already had the windows out, you just grab hold of me and follow me, and I'll get our happy butts out of this thing. And it worked. It worked like a champ. And we were empty on gas when we shut that rotor head and the engines down.
Wow.
And this guy is hugging us and thanking us and blah, blah, blah. And one thing we always did for the our survivors up there is we gave him a flight suit and a name tag with their name on it and saved by the best. And we put the crew member
I love it.
onto the name tag and present it to him. Well, he was out of Ketchikan, his boat, and his wife and son were out of Ketchikan. So it's the 23rd. Next day, the paper comes out. I'm at home. I have the, oh, shoot. I was sliding, and I got a phone call from our ops boss, Commander Shearer. He goes, "He'd come in here and check out the paper." I go, "What's going on?" He goes, "You're going to love this." And Commander Shearer, anytime you're on a SAR case, it was even least bit Harry, he was always there. He was always there in maintenance control, waiting on you and shaking your hand as you walked in. Really a stand-up guy, Dan Shearer. Go in, and he's sitting in his office. He goes, "Come in, Roger." And we were actually good friends. We were in Clearwater together. We rode up on the ferry together, and walk in, and here this guy had wrote a letter to the editor, and I had a copy of it, but I've lost it. This man said he had all the crew members' names. If it wasn't for these men, I would not be home tonight celebrating Christmas Eve with my wife and my son Benjamin. It was like, man, that is really, really cool. And it went to a lot more detail than that right there. What I said, it was just like, this guy didn't have to do that. Write a letter to the editor, everything. So, I got an achievement award out of that one, which
that's
was
awesome.
a bit too much,
Well,
But,
it was nice
right
to be
there,
recognized.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And after that, it was kind of downhill for me. For the rest of my tour up there in Sitka.
Okay.
That coming spring, I was on the station softball team.
Yeah.
And I was doing a stand up slide in the second base, and rolled my right ankle over and busted it all to hell. My talent. So that put me down for about 4 months. I recovered, and in February, I'm up. A plane just came back from a train flight and had about 4 inches of snow on it from sitting out on the ramp.
Yeah.
I'm up on top, checking out the rotor blades, and slipped, and I fell off the helicopter.
And jeez, man!
When I hit the concrete on the hangar deck, I tried doing a parachute landing fall, a PLF.
Yeah.
To kind of break it, to soften the fall.
Yeah, it's almost like hitting with a soft squat and then rolling off to one side or the other, right?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Feet first, knees, hip, and then roll. So I did it. When I hit, I heard something crack. Then I rolled, and I actually came up on my feet, and I'm here bouncing on my left foot, and my right leg was killing me. And they're going, "Are you okay?" I go, yeah. I go, "I just bruised my butt really bad." And I go, "Someone help me sit." I sat down, and then the pain kicked in. It was like, meow. Here I busted my hip femur in 3 different places.
Oh my gosh.
It was not cool. Yeah, the ambulance showed up. They shot me up with morphine, and then tried to put a hair traction splint on my leg for the femur. But what they didn't realize, I busted up higher at the femoral head, going up in the hip. So when they went to tighten that thing up, it was actually pulling my whole leg down. All right.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I grabbed hold of the paramedic's wrist, and I said, "Stop." So they had to hit me up with Demerol and morphine like 5 times before they could x-ray it at the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
And that's exactly what the ER doc said. He goes, "Oh my gosh." He goes, "You really tore up your leg here, Mr. Chivers." And I'm looking at the X-ray. It's like, holy cow! I could see the one break plain as could be, but I busted so bad I was losing blood, and they had to medevac me from Sitka up to Elmendorf Air Force Base, and give me some extra blood, a bunch of fluids. My right leg was swelled up about the size of two legs, and I was black and blue from my waist all the way down to my tippy toes.
Oh
And
my gosh.
that pretty much ruined my swimmer career in Sitka. Them two accidents right there.
Wow.
So, yep, that was it. That's my claim to fame right there.
You know
as
what?
far as
They one those are a couple big rescues to make claim to fame. Holy shit.
but that's pretty much it for me as far as good rescues go. Did some medevacs, but other than that, just them two SAR cases right there were pretty much the bigger ones. I did some more than that, dewatering boats out, that sort of thing, but nothing as cool as that, especially that guy from Ketchikan writing the letter to the editor. I just thought that was, if I get that, I'll send it to you too.
Oh yeah, please do. Oh my gosh, I would love to read it. That's awesome.
That's about it, Jason. I mean, that's it. I made chief coming out of Sitka. Ran the shop down in Miami for 3 years, and then off 4 years. I'll have to say that Sitka was my best tour, but as far as the school was, I actually, we just had a good crew there. We didn't have all the fancy stuff that they had, once the new RSTF came to fruition, but there's not a single guy that we put through that graduated, or girl, that ever failed to execute a rescue.
True statement.
You can put as much pressure on somebody in 8 foot of water as you can in 15 foot of water, and you're proof positive of that. We put out some good people and good ASMs too.
That's a really good perspective when you look at that. So, I know there's things that the Coast Guard always talks about, and just in general of, it's too hard, or we need more people to pass school, or whatever the excuse is, that they need more numbers or whatever, need to be more diverse, be more this, be more that. But when you look at the guys and girls that have graduated from Coast Guard rescue swimmer school, none of us have ever, that I'm aware of anyway, have ever turned down or not been able to do the job. So
none, not a single one. And I stayed up on things for quite a few years. None during my tenure there at the school.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So,
and if we had someone we didn't think was up for it, we got rid of them. Simple as that.
Yeah.
If you didn't have it, it's time to find another road, another path to go down besides the swimmer world.
Yeah. And I'll say, no, I still got you. I would also say that I believe this really in the like deep heart and soul into this, is that none of the stuff that we teach is subjective. Like, it's subjective. It's very, you either pass it or you don't. It's not my opinion. It's not, here's the standard. Here's what you've got. Make it or don't. And if you make it, you continue. If you don't, you don't. It's that simple. So
yeah, it really is. You nailed it right on the head right there. No doubt.
Yeah. So, Roger,
I'm not sure
these stories are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with me.
You're welcome, Jason. It was a pleasure. I just hope I didn't bore you too bad, or bore the people listening.
No way, not a chance. And, but I will ask you before you go,
but
if you had any advice from all your experience and everything you've done, what would you tell everybody?
Do what makes you happy.
Oh man, just keeping it simple. I like that.
It's as simple as that. if you make yourself into a happy person and stay happy, everything's going to fall in place right behind that. I truly believe that.
Man, I like that. I'm leaving it right there. Roger, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. And the next time I get down to North Carolina, I'm calling you. I promise.
Please do, Jason. Thank you very much for doing this for me. I truly appreciate it.
Of course. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Go. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Please take a minute to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. I'm pulling chocks and taking off. But before I go, if anyone out there has a rescue story they would be willing to share, I would be humbled and honored to have you on as a guest. Or if you have any questions about rescue or anything else we talk about here, send an email to jason@therealresq.com. That's Jason at TheRealResQ.com. You can also check us out on our web pages, therealresq.com, our Facebook page, and our Instagram page @TheRealResQ. Again, a special thank you to all of you staying on the watch today. Always remember, when that SAR alarm goes off, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. Until next time, fly safe and swim hard.